special presentation of TNN, Nashville Network.
Workin' Man, a tribute to Merle Haggard, featuring Trace Adkins, John Anderson, BR549's Gary Bennett and Jay McDowell, Little Jimmy Dickens, Joe Diffie, Robert Duvall, Sarah Evans, Noel Haggard, Emmylou Harris, Wade Hayes, Alan Jackson, George Jones, Toby Keith, Tim McGraw, Jimmy C. Newman, Leroy Parnell, Ricky Van Shelton, Darryl Singletary, Shelley Wright, Wynonna, and of course, Merle Haggard and the Strangers. Ladies and gentlemen, Merle Haggard and George Jones.
I have just got to say something here before I do anything, Merle. I've got to say what a thrill this is to be on stage at the old Ryman with Merle Haggard, my favorite singer since Hank Williams Sr., and I mean it with all my heart. But the main thing, we're on stage tonight for real country music. Wish I was down on some blue bayou, bamboo cane stuck in the sand, but the road I'm on don't seem to go. Just dream and keep on being the way that I am. The way I am. Don't get my shackles. The way I am. Reality. I can almost see a little bobber dance. Oh, but I'll just dream and keep on being the way that I am. Wish I enjoy what makes my living. It's what I do with a willing hand. Some would run, oh, but that ain't like me. I just dream, keep on being the way I am. Oh, it's my shackles, way I am. Reality, I can almost see. I just dream, keep on being the way that I am. George Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Anybody that don't know who Merle Haggard is knows nothing about country music.
I made more money than God ought to make. and I ain't got any money. Not because I didn't earn it, just because I didn't have the right people working for me. I got ripped off. So I'm still out here singing and playing. Another reason for identifying with a working man.
I think after I stopped being a teenager and started dealing with raising a child on my own and earning money and getting a job, losing a job, paying rent, all those things that have to do with real life was when Merle's music really started to make some sense to me.
He's been called the working man's poet, so to speak. And in the form of song and his type of singing, I think that, you know, he does represent the working man.
And the music, to me, has always been about and for real people, working people, and Merle Haggard's always stood for that.
I can't imagine anybody that the working people love more than Merle Haggard.
John Anderson, Trace Atkins, and Alan Jackson when we return.
I personally am a fan of Merle the man.
If I was a singer, if I was wrote songs, this is the way I'd like to do it, you know. He's something, this guy.
He's just a regular person, you know. I mean, he's just one of the guys.
He has this outer shell, you know, but he's not really that rough a guy, you know.
He just, all he has to do is walk into a room, and you can feel the greatness.
You know, I'm not sure what makes anyone as charismatic as Merle.
I'd be drinking my own bathwater if I answered that question. I don't know.
You know, Merle's done it his way all along. He's always been outside the circle in Nashville and outside the loop, and I think he's made the kind of music and the great music that he has made. It's been because of that, because he's been outside the loop and because he's done it his way and refused to conform.
When we're on the bus rolling down the road late at night and you get the guitar out and start singing songs, I mean, more than half of them will end up being Haggard songs.
I've written over 300, about 400 songs. And they're kind of like animals, you know, or children. Some do good and some do better, and some wait for a long time before they do well.
I once told Merle, I said, man, thanks for writing all them songs. I don't know what I'd have done as a kid without having those songs to sing.
This old smoke-filled bar is something I'm not used to. I gave up my home to see you satisfied, and I just called to let you know where I'll be living. It's not much, but I feel welcome here inside. I've got swinging doors, a jukebox, and a bar stool. And my new home has a flashing neon sign. Stop by and see me anytime you want to, 'cause I'm always here at home till closing time. Drive me crazy, and I've got everything it takes to lose my mind. And in here the atmosphere is right for heartache, and thanks to you I'm always here till closing time. I've got swinging doors, a jukebox, and a bar stool. And my new home has a flashing neon sign. Stop by and see me anytime you want to, 'cause I'm always here at home till closing time. Yes, I'm always here at home till closing time.
The best memory of my life, I would be afraid to try to nail it down to one. I've had different wives, but some of my favorite moments are connected with them. Bonnie Owens and I were married. Moments in Alaska. The lady that I'm married to now, there's moments on Lake Shasta that come to mind. Fishing nude in the moonlight with my wife.
Right now, I'd like to introduce a brand new young lady who's volunteered to come out and sing some Merle Haggard music. Would you make her welcome Sarah Evans? Sarah, come on out here. Yeah. What is it you'd like to do?
How about a song that was written about you?
That sounds interesting.
I think you told me this was written about you. You take me for granted.
Are you going to do that? All right. All right. This is a song that was written by Leona Williams, and a lot of people, you know, because we collaborated on different things, have asked me over the years, say that, did you write some of that song? I said, no, I wasn't even there when she wrote it. This is totally Leona's song. Do it for us.
Love to. Put a smile on a sad face while deep down it's breaking my heart. And as sure as the sun shines, I'll spend my lifetime not knowing if I've done
Not bad.
Thank you.
with Robert Duvall when we return.
You know, everybody's ever sang a note in this century has been influenced by Bing Crosby. You know, everybody, maybe they don't even know it.
If you notice, there's a beautiful, comforting resonance at the bottom end of Merle's voice. When he hits that, going where the lonely go, and it's, you know, that's Bing. You hear that? You know? Bo, 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 bo. See?
Anybody in this country that ever liked me or Willie Nelson, either one, has got a lot of Bing Crosby influence, because I know that we both have that.
And you know, it's a funny thing. Bob Wills and Bing Crosby were good friends.
But I idolized Wills for his ability to lead a band, and he played great fiddle.
You know, I think with Merle, the styles that he incorporates in his music, definitely the Bob Wills influence you can tell from the Texas swing kind of thing. And Merle adds kind of the jazz flavor to what he did, to the Texas swing kind of feel.
I also idolized or liked very much Lefty Frizzell's unique method of delivery.
Merle it takes the best of Lefty and goes on with it to make it his own, which any artist does, is to make something his own.
Everybody today is a combination of everybody they've ever listened to, and I think the same thing was with Merle. And every now and then somebody special like him comes along that's able to combine everything that the knowledge and everything that they've heard around them and be able to put it into one unique sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is truly one of the people that I idolized all my life, and I've come to know him over the years and love him very much. Would you make welcome little Jimmy Dickens?
Thank you, folks.
There was a magic night up in Louisville, Kentucky one time. There'd been what they call a guitar puller, and that's where people kind of pass the guitar around and they play their latest song for each other. And everybody had passed it all the way around, and this man here got up ready to leave, and I asked him, I said, why haven't you written a song here for us? He had his guitar in his case already, and he looked at me kind of funny, and he just reached down and took his guitar back out of the case, and he started off with this song that went #1 for me. And,
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
well, I wrote the last half of it. He didn't have the whole thing, you see, and it was just a great song. And I said, I think I can finish it for you.
Down through the ages, men have died for their women, and done so many times. Each time I loved one, I've always lost one. Seems the right one is so hard to find.
You got it on your own.
Shopping for dresses with no one to wear them. One in each color, one in each style. I'll find a lady someday to wear them. My shopping will be done for a while.
I bet somewhere a lady is shopping for dresses, comparing values and the trades. Hey, we got to do it over. I said dresses, it's not dresses.
That's the part you wrote.
I know it. Okay, I've got to say britches. I got so into the dresses there that shopping for dresses. I've been somewhere, a lady, shopping for britches, comparing the values, appraising each pair. Maybe someday the good Lord will bring us together, and we'll both have a new wardrobe to wear.
Sing for me now.
Shopping for dresses, but no one to wear them. One in each color, and one in each style. Maybe someday I'll find a lady to wear them, and my shopping will be done for a while.
My shopping will be done for a while.
I've never recorded anything that didn't hit me. I've recorded about 30% of my material's been other people's songs, so that I wouldn't be guilty of thinking that I was the only songwriter in the world and turned down a great song just because I didn't write it.
We want to welcome a big man to the stage. Has a lot of deep tones that I love to hear. Look here how tall he is. We thought about getting him and little Jimmy Dickens to do a duet, and little Jim said, well, I'll do anything for a laugh. Would you make welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Trace Atkins. Thank you. I said this program is made up of mostly my music. Was nearly all of my music, with the exception of one or two tunes. This is a Liz and Casey Anderson tune, and it was the first song that I had go #1 for me. Would you do it for me? It's called "The Fugitive." I've always wanted to hear you sing. All right.
afford the luxury of having the one I love to come along. Heck, she'd only slow me down and they catch up with me. 'Cause he who travels fastest goes along. And I'd like to settle down, but they won't let me. Now a fugitive must be a rolling stone. And down every road there's always one more city. I'm on the run, the highway is my home. Yes, I'm on the run, the highway is my home.
Merle sings one of his biggest hits when we return.
Here's a song we wrote about Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it came from. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm tired of these dirty old cities. Entirely too much work and never enough pay. And I'm tired of these dirty old sidewalks. Think I'll walk off my steady job today. Sing it with me. Turn me loose, set me free, somewhere in the middle of Montana. You give me all I've got coming to me, and keep your retirement and your so-called Social Security. Big city, turn me loose and set me free. Been working every day since I was 20. I haven't got a lot to show for anything I've done. I know folks who never working, they've got plenty. I think it's time folks like you and me had some fun. Turn me loose, set me free, somewhere in the middle of Montana. Give me all I've got coming to me, and keep your retirement and your so-called yours. Big city, turn me loose, set me free. I said, big city, turn me loose, set me free.
I was always impressed with Merle's band, you know, the Strangers.
I've been with Merle for 30 years now.
I've been playing drums for Merle for 29 years.
I work with Merle Haggard, and I sing harmony, background harmony, and I'm the only one of the boys that's a girl.
Well, Bonnie Owens, I mean, besides being a great mother to me, she, I'd say she's to blame for a lot of Merle's success. She was always there for him, walking around, following him around with a pen and paper, you know, writing down everything he said.
We got a divorce in '78, but we became friends again. Well, actually, we were never not friends.
Bonnie left for a while and came back. She hasn't stayed all through the years, but she's here now. She was here in the beginning.
I started with him. I kind of consider myself a stranger, too.
Fuzzy has been my only personal manager all through the years.
I don't know who else you could work for to be any better than Merle.
It's what you don't find a lot nowadays, is the loyalty that the strangers have, you know.
They don't just play for Merle Haggard. They love Merle Haggard.
Hey, there's one thing I'd like to do before the evening continues. I'd like to take a moment and introduce the strangers. All right? All right.
He just feels the audience out. He makes the job easy because you don't get bored with it, because we never know what he's going to do. You know, he doesn't even know.
I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that I'd ever be on the stage with Merle Haggard, you know, singing and having his band play, and Merle directing his band behind me. I mean, that was one dream I never had. I had a lot of dreams, but I never dreamed that.
A canvas-covered cabin in a crowded river camp stands out in these memories I revive. 'Cause my daddy raised a family there with two hard working hands and tried to feed my mama's hungry eyes. He dreamed of something better, and my mama's faith was strong, and us kids were just too young to realize that another class of people put us somewhere just below. One more reason for my mama's hungry eyes. Mama never had the luxury she wanted, but it wasn't 'cause my daddy didn't try. She only wanted things she really needed. One more reason for my mama's hungry eyes. Well, I remember Daddy praying for a better way of life, but I don't recall a change of any size. Just a little loss of courage as their age began to show, and more sadness in my mama's hungry eyes. Mama never had the luxury she wanted, but it wasn't 'cause my daddy didn't try. She only wanted things she really needed. One more reason for my mama's hungry eyes. Oh, I still recall my mama's hungry eyes.
Coming up, Noel Haggard joins his dad on stage.
Hey, I was so proud when I came to town that I was just happy being around Hag's children. You know, I'd go into a club somewhere and pick, and one of his boys would come in, and I just was honored to be in there with some of his offspring, you know. He was just, Hag was pretty big for me coming up.
Barry Beckett produced Noel's record, and Barry was my producer at one time. So I used to sit Noel down in the kitchen over there at the office and say, "Tell me about your dad."
He was just Dad. We thought everybody had a dad like that at home, you know.
I've never envied the offspring of famous people because, you know, it's going to be difficult for them.
Kind of like a blessing and a curse, especially in the music part of it, you know. People definitely expect something out of you, you know. And, you know, you don't sound like Merle, or you don't look like Merle, or, you know.
I never really encouraged him to go into the business. You know, I didn't discourage it at all. And after I saw he was interested, I tried to help him every way I could and you know, give him tips and tell him what I thought. And he's a good writer, and tried to help him in that area.
Well, I thought, well, he's just doing it because he's supposed to, because he's a Haggard, but the guy really loves music.
Yeah, he's special, very special. Well, all the kids are special to me, but Noel is special because he's sort of like he is like Merle, very much like Merle. He thinks like Merle. He's compassionate like Merle. He's very talented. Have you heard him sing? He's good.
Thank you.
Things I learned in a homo jungle, things they never taught me in a classroom. Like where to find a handout while bumming through Chicago in the afternoon. I'm not bragging nor complaining, I'm just talking to myself, man to man. This old mental fat I'm chewing didn't take a lot of doing, but I take a lot of pride in what I am. I guess I grew up alone and I don't remember having any folks around. I keep thumbing through the phone book and looking for my daddy's name in every town. I meet lots of friendly people, but I always end up leaving on the lam. I've never been nobody's idol, but at least I've got a title, and I take a lot of pride in what I am.
Guarded his guitar.
I never travel in a hurry. I ain't got nobody waiting for me anywhere. Home is anywhere I'm living. It's sleeping on some vacant bench in City Square. Or just working on a road gang and living off the fat of our great land. I've never been nobody's idol, but at least I've got a title, and I take a lot of pride in what I am.
Thank you very much. It's been great being here. It's a great honor. Thank you, Dad.
Oh, I just wanted you to give me a hug before you left. Okay.
All right.
All right.
If someone just starting out in this business, my piece of advice would be to go get another business. From an honest, straight off the shoulder answer. But if that won't change your mind, then get ready for the ride, because if you happen to be successful, it's not all as rosy as one might imagine. You know, it's a glamorized bus ride. It's a 35-year bus ride. That's what it is.
Tim McGraw pays tribute to Merle when we return.
Merle Haggard has got a phenomenal, world-class, once-in-a-lifetime voice that comes down the pike, okay?
Well, you understand every word that Merle sings, and it's almost like he's talking, but yet he's singing. And, brother, that's a real art.
I think that was the big appeal for me, is that it really feels like a conversation, you know, and he's explaining things, explaining his feelings or something he's seen.
It's just beautiful, and he doesn't sing really hard or really loud. It's just, you know, you can totally feel every word that he sings because he puts so much emotion into it. Very distinctive voice.
Merle's always had a wonderful voice, but as he grows older, as does the voice in a good way, it mellows. That is very, very enriching and very pleasant to listen to.
His style says, and his music says, that he's chosen to write and sing and play the way people can relate to it. And I think that's what probably makes him one of the greatest standards in country music.
My ex-wife used to sing nicely. She was a good singer. She loved Merle Haggard. She said, for a steady diet, and on an everyday basis, she would rather listen to Merle Haggard steadily than Pavarotti, which is a great compliment because I love Pavarotti as well, but they're different kinds of music. But Merle's the kind of guy you put in your car, your pickup, or in your kitchen or wherever. It's very soothing music.
This next number is a song I'm going to do myself. It's one of the latest songs that I've written, and it hasn't been heard by anybody in the United States except my brother, who passed away last year. And I'd like to dedicate it to Lowell and Fran. Listening to the wind, trying to hear the voice of a distant friend, wishing you and I were close again. Listening to the wind, listening to the breeze as it whispers through the poplar trees. Do you think of me way back then? Do you listen to the wind? Listening to the night, wishing we could hold and squeeze each other tight. I can almost hear the stars so bright. Do you listen to the night? Listening to the sound of the highway through some distant town. I can almost hear the pale moonlight. Do you listen to the night? Listening to my mind, searching through my thoughts for the perfect line, using tricks and telepathy at times. Do you listen to your mind? breeze as it whispers through the poplar trees, wishing you and I were close again. Just listen to the wind. Thank you kindly.
Probably Merle Haggard, a pen, a bottle of Jim Beam, and some paper and a guitar. That'd probably be the good ingredients for a country song.
I believe that Merle writes and sings the truth. He doesn't mince words. He doesn't try to flower things up. And that's really a very difficult thing about songwriting.
He's got a natural ability to take, you know, just normal words and common phrases and make them sound poetic, and Hank Williams did that, you know.
Most of his songs tell a very interesting story.
Some of them are really about tangible things that I have to believe were real events that happened in his life.
He creates great imagery. 2 lines into the song and you're there.
And he says it from a really just pitiful, sad point of view, and those are my favorite kind of country songs, you know, the ones that tear your heart out, and he can do that.
And Merle Haggard has the ability for you to be riding down the road listening to the radio and a song of his come on and you want to kick the dashboard out. It's like, how did he know how I felt, you know? And then that's what Merle can do. He can tell you how you feel.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask you to sing a song that I wrote for my mother. I wrote a couple of songs for Mom, and it's a dear song to me. It's been mighty nice to me. It's made some money over the years, and Mama would have been proud of it, I think, even more so. Would you do Mama Tried?
I'd love to.
First thing I remember knowing is a lonesome whistle blowing. A youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. A one and only rebel child from a family meek and mild. Mama seemed to know what lying stole. In spite of all my Sunday learning, toward bad I kept on turning, till Mama couldn't hold me anymore. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her bleeding eye denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Old daddy, rest his soul, left my mom a heavy load. She tried so very hard to fill his shoes, working hours without rest, wanted me to have the best. She tried to raise me right, but I refused. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her bleeding eye denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
Thank you, Merle.
The great Tim McGraw. Tim, thank you for a fine performance there. My mother would be proud of you.
Mama Tried is probably more closely identified with Merle Haggard than any other song that I've written. It's right there with Working Man Blues.
Mama Tried, that song, you know, before the show started, I didn't know it, but he told me that song was written for his mother. And considering where he probably was in the vacation he was taking when he decided to write that song, where the inspiration of that song came from, I think it's pretty special.
Everyone knows what he's been through. You know, he did some time in the joint, you know. A lot of people can't sing honestly about that, and I think we all kind of, we like to hear that. We have a fascination with, you know, we watch those 911 rescue shows, and we have a fascination with things that might happen to us. And he's actually someone who can tell us about being on the inside of the big concrete wall.
The Possum and the Hag perform together next.
When Tender Mercies came out, Willie Nelson came to my apartment in New York. We sat down until he played. It was wonderful. He just sat and sang, and it was nice. And he liked the movie a lot. And then he asked me if I think he used the word, did you ape Merle Haggard? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you remind me just the way he walked and everything. Did you study him? I said, well, not really. I mean, I said, Merle's a hero. I love Merle, his music, but I didn't really copy him or ape him anyway. I said, as a matter of fact, you know, George Jones told everybody it was written for him. It was his life story.
What are we gonna do now? Can you leave that about that key? We didn't rehearse it.
We didn't rehearse what?
Yesterday's wine.
Yesterday's wine. We're aging with time, like yesterday's wine. Yesterday's wine. Oh, yesterday's wine. We're aging with time, like wine, like yesterday's wine.
George Jones has always been one of those in the business that I enjoyed listening to and comparing notes with and records with, and we cut an album together. He's one of my dear friends. We're mutual fans of each other's work, and it's such an honor to have him on the show.
I must have done something bad sometime in my life, and I paid for it time and again. But this time you've hurt me so bad, I wanna lay down and die. And the pain grows each day, 10 times 10 times 10. If I thought my hand was against you, why I'd cut off my arm and walk on and leave it behind. If I thought that you needed money, well, I'd sell my own soul. Steal from the poor and the blind.
Can't understand how ice can glitter like fire. Why you had me fooled all along. And I gave you all that I had. Then I searched around for more. And now I've got nothing at all, and you're gone. I must have done something bad sometime in my life, and I paid for it time and again, and again.
Toby Keith and Daryl Singletary coming up next.
All in the movies, it was just a couple of weeks ago. I was playing golf on a golf course with some of the boys in the crew, and I got to singing this song, and everybody goes, well, where did that come out of, you know? And I said, this is an old Haggard song called All in the Movies, and it was the opening line, they were so much in love with life. The melody's got that little lilt in it. Happy in every way, and then he'll go down and hit that patented Hag drop off roll off the end of the table note and just nail it. And it was just a melody that I don't think I've ever heard before or after. It wasn't just your common country melody, and it was just real peaceful to the ears.
They were so much in love with life, happy in every way. Love the movie began with, somehow got lost in the play, like a fire burning out of control. We got caught up in the actor's role, and you cried on my shoulder when it came to an end. But that's all in the movies. It can't happen to you and I. It's all in the movies. So baby, don't cry. It's all in the movies. It can't happen to us, I know. And it's all in the movies. Just a bad picture show. Yes, it's all in the movies. It can't happen to you and I. It's all in the movies. So baby, don't cry. That's all in the movies. It can't happen to us, I know. It's all in the movies. Just another bad picture show.
Thank you very much. You don't forget meeting Merle Haggard. I was on a bus. Where else are you going to meet Merle?
I saw him at the Academy of Country Music Awards in Los Angeles.
And I got to present him with the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I got to read this soliloquy kind of thing about Merle and about his life.
We were standing at the Music City News Awards, and this is a memory that will be with me till the day I die.
He complimented me in the ultimate way that only someone like Merle can. The way he said it was, you know, he loved my voice, and I will never forget him saying that.
He was very quiet. I guess he was quiet because I was such in shock to me. I couldn't say much either.
He looked up and he said, "Hey, Joe, how you doing?" And I was like, it just floored me. I thought, Merle Haggard knows my name. That is the wildest thing. It was one of the highlights of my life.
He said, "Would you like to have some original Merle Haggard songs that hadn't been sung before?" And I'm sitting there like, yeah, I'd love to, you know. So that was a kind of neat memory that I have and I'll always have is Merle Haggard asking me, you know. And again, just being able to be part of the Merle Haggard tribute. I'm just so thankful.
Each night I leave the ballroom when it's over, not feeling any pain till closing time. But tonight your memory found me much too sober. I couldn't drink enough to keep you off my mind. Tonight the bottle let me down, and let your memory hang around. Oh, one true friend I thought I'd found. Tonight the bottle let me down. I've always had a bottle I could turn to, and lately I've been turning every day. But that old wine don't take effect the way it used to. Lord, I'm a hurting in an old familiar way. Tonight the bottle let me down, and let your memory hang around. The one true That's all for good, my friend. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Coming up, John Anderson sings Silver Wings.
Merle Haggard's kind of like Hank Williams in the sense that, once you think you've heard everything they did, you hear some song somewhere that they did on some record that you've never heard before, and it blows you away.
My favorite Merle Haggard song, it'd be impossible to pick one.
I think Swinging Doors.
Today I started loving you again.
The Way I Am.
Today I started loving you again. He said, well, he wrote it in like 5 to 10 minutes. It just came to him and he wrote it. And sometimes the best ones come quickly, and the other ones you labor over. But that was one of those that just came, and it's one of those, like, perfect songs, you know, really.
My favorite songs are definitely Silver Wings. You just don't hear songs like that anymore.
Working Man Blues was the A-side of this particular record we had released, and Silver Wings was the B-side, and they both become Merle Haggard hits over the years.
It's just religious when I hear that song to me. It's a very spiritual song.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight, roaring engines headed somewhere in flight. They're taking you away and leaving me lonely. Silver wings slowly fading out of sight. Don't leave me, I cry. Don't take that airplane ride. But you locked me out of your mind and left me standing here behind. Silver wings shining in the sunlight, roaring engines headed somewhere in flight. They're taking you away and leaving me lonely. Silver wings slowly fading out of sight. Silver wings slowly fading out of sight.
Working Man, a tribute to Merle Haggard, continues after this.
Merle Haggard has had a great impact on the youth in country music.
He's one of my heroes. You know that Merle Haggard was the first concert that I ever went to see as a young girl. And when I saw Merle, he literally was a turning point in my life as a dreamer. I saw his show and decided that I wanted to be on stage.
He was probably one of my biggest influences. I'd say that Merle was probably the reason that I moved to Nashville.
Anybody that, you know, started picking guitars up around 1965 or 70, you're just about, it's inevitable they're going to be able to peel off a couple of Merle Haggard songs.
I can remember hearing Okie from Muskogee on the radio when I was a child and really liking it. You know, I thought it was funny as a kid, but that song actually came out, that album came out the year I was born. And Muskogee is just down the road from where I was from.
Yeah, they sent Okie from Muskogee, I think Apollo 16 took it up.
Charlie Duke was an astronaut on that mission who chose to take a Merle Haggard tape with it.
Put it on the moon, in case somebody wanted to listen to it up there.
We don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee. We don't take no trips on LSD. We don't burn no trap cards down on Main Street. We like living right and being free. We don't make no party out of loving. We like holding hands and pitching woo. We still let our hair grow that long and shaggy, like the hippies out in San Francisco do. And I'm proud to be an Okie-Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball. We still wave old glory down at the courthouse. And white line is still the biggest thrill of all. Hey, leather boots are still in style for manly footwear. Beads and old bad sandals won't be seen. And football still the roughest thing on the campus. And the kids there still respect the college dean. Sing it with me, I need it. And I'm proud to be an Okie-Muskogee. All you folks in Oklahoma, a place where even squares can have a ball. White line is still the biggest thrill of all. We still wave old glory down at the courthouse. In Muskogee, Oklahoma, USA.
I do not understand the concept of going off into another room with somebody or into a car and saying that we're going to write a song. And I know some of my closest friends that do that and have success at it. But I don't know how they can write anything spontaneously if they're out sweating out something. And I was always afraid I might be sweating out a bad song and miss a hit.
Sarah Evans sings a Haggard classic after this.
If We Make It Through December's always been one of my favorite Merle songs because it's a touching tale about a man talking to his little girl, basically, or thinking to himself about how he wanted Christmas to be right for Daddy's little girl. The lyric is, I don't mean to hate December, it's meant to be the happy time of year. But my little girl don't understand why Daddy can't afford no Christmas cheer. And it's just about hard times in the wintertime.
That's always been one of my favorite Christmas songs because it's just from an entirely different perspective. It's not jingle bells or something happy. It's, you know, talks about what a lot of people go through during the holiday seasons, that they're poor and it's not a lot of fun for them. And man, he has such a way of telling a story. Incredible.
If we make it through December, everything's gonna be alright, I know. It's the coldest time of winter, and I shiver when I see the falling snow. If we make it through December,
we make it through December, we'll be fine.
More Haggard hits still to come.
I remember one time in particular when I broke up with one of my wives, like I'm sure he did. I was very romantic at that time, and I had a new girlfriend. I would sing her Merle Haggard songs, and today I started loving you again. And, you know, it's things like that. You know, I listened to his music a lot then, because, you know, it was a time in my life when I was feeling certain yearnings and certain emotional displacements and certain things, times when I wanted to reach out for somebody new. So his music was pretty, you know, apropos for that time in my life.
Today I started loving you again, and I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you just long enough to let my heartache mend, and then today I started loving you again. What a fool I was to think I could get by with only these few million tears I cry. I should have known the worst was yet to come, and the crying time for me had just begun. Today I started loving you again, and I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you just long enough to let my heartache mend. Then today I started loving you again. Today I started loving you again, and I'm right back where I've really always been. I got over you just long enough to let my heartache mend, and then today I started loving you again.
The legacy of Merle Haggard, I think, will last a long time after he's gone.
I wish we had more Merle Haggards in this world. I wish I was more like Merle Haggard.
I knew I wanted to sing harmony with him the rest of my life, as far as I was concerned. That's exactly what I wanted. We had a good sound together, and he's the best. May as well work with the best.
If I can use the word Jones, to listen to Hag sometimes. When he comes on the radio or something and you hear it, you want to drag your CD out and plug him back in and get a little shot of the Hag.
And I think that his songs will be very enduring because he's a wonderful poetic writer. Plus, he's a marvelous singer. I mean, his pitch and sense of music is wonderful. And I think people will always relate to that.
I think through his songs we've gotten to know who Merle Haggard is, really, because he's laid it out for the world to see right there on paper and in music. And he's told it with honesty. And, you know, it takes a brave man to lay his soul out there for everybody to see.
Stay tuned for an all-star working man blues.
Merle was riding somewhere between Tucson and L.A. Bonnie was driving the car.
I was trying to write something that was capable of doing as well as Folsom Prison Blues. You know, that was I was thinking about a song of that sort that would be appealing to the men and directed that way. And I thought, you know, working man blues.
Talking about the working man blues as a song, what it really means, it represents and it kind of crystallizes what the working man is to Merle in this country.
Well, I suppose Merle has always spoken for the working man, which is what working man and woman, which is really what country music is all about.
Good, honest, homespun, heartfelt poetry.
It's a big job getting by with 9 kids and a wife. Yeah, but I've been a working man, dang near all my life. I keep on working, long as my 2 hands are fit to use. I drink a little beer in a tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues.
I keep my nose to the grindstone, work hard every day. Might get retired on the weekend after I draw my pay, but I'll keep on working. Come Monday morning, I'm right back with a crew.
Well, I drink a little beer in the evening and sing a little bit of these working man blues.
Well, sometime I think about leaving, do a little bumming around. I want to throw my bills out the window and catch a train to another town, but I go back to work. Yeah, I gotta buy my kids a brand new pair of shoes.
Yeah, I drank a little beer in a tavern, try a little bit of these working man blues. Here comes Red.
Well, I said, hey, working man like me. Ain't never been on welfare, and there's one place I won't be, 'cause I'll be working. Long as my 2 hands are fit to use. Come on, Merle.
Drink my beer at a tavern and cry a little bit of them working man blues. This song goes out especially for all the working men in the house.